that time of year, guys. It is October. It is Halloween time. It is time to watch some Halloween-type movies, horror movies. Welcome to my 2020 Halloween Spooktackular, where I'm going to be talking about a select few horror movies, or in the case of Casper, Halloween-themed movies. This is my first installment in that series, and it's 1995's Casper. Casper is definitely something that I watched growing up. It was one of those movies that was always on ABC Family, on like The Wonderful World of Disney. For some reason, Disney just put this on The Wonderful World of Disney like every Sunday night. It would just be on there. Any time of the year, it would just be on there. It would just air it on TV. So that's to say that Casper does have a little bit of nostalgia in my heart. I used to like this movie a lot when I was a little kid. Watching it through adult eyes for the first time in a couple of years, I didn't really evaluate it the last time I watched it, but watching it for this review, it's okay. Casper himself, the friendly ghost, and the ghostly trio, Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch, are honestly the glue that hold this movie together. The musical score is great as well. I had no idea that James Horner did the music for this movie. He hit all the right notes. When it needed to be a little bit more creepy, James Horner went for it. But when a scene called for something to be a little bit more lighthearted, James Horner went for it too. The score is perfect. And like I said, Casper himself, as a ghost, is so adorable, has so much charisma, he's funny, he's unlike other ghosts like Big Boo in Mario Party. God damn it, that ghost was just stealing coins and stars for me left and right. You know how many games in Mario Party I lost because of him? I hate that ghost. But Casper is literally the best part. He's why you watch the movie. He's the glue that holds the movie together. The ghostly trio is pretty good. The ghostly trio is mostly just there for laughs, which brings me to a negative for the movie, the humor. The humor doesn't really land. There's a lot of flat humor. There's a lot of humor geared more towards kids in this movie rather than adults. There is some stuff that I laugh at with this movie in terms of the jokes, but for the most part, the jokes don't really resonate with me or get really a chuckle out of me as an adult. It's geared more towards kids. I gotta say, Christina Ricci is a little stale in her role. I'm not gonna say she's horrible, but there are certain scenes where she is just standing there with the most blank face you will ever see in a movie. It's like you're looking at a stone wall at times. Most of the movie she's good, but there's just a few scenes where I'm like, I can't. This was also a time in Hollywood when Hollywood was trying to make Bill Pullman a thing. In the late 80s and early to mid 90s, going into the late 90s, Bill Pullman was like everybody's leading man. He had to be in everything. He was in Spaceballs, he was in Casper, then his career somehow brought him to Independence Day, and he just vanished off the face of the earth. I have no idea where Bill Pullman went until I saw him in The Equalizer. He's probably the most fleshed out character out of any of them. The characters themselves, other than Casper, aren't really all that fleshed out. He's probably the best character. He's this ghost shrink who's trying to communicate with the dead to try and find the ghost of his dead wife, which actually makes for a more compelling character, a more obsessed character, but somebody who loves his daughter. And the father and daughter dynamic in Casper is so well-rounded. I got the fact that, yes, while these two might find each other annoying at times, there's still that undeniable love that these two have for each other, and it shows that family camaraderie is so strong, and that's a huge message that plays throughout this entire movie. Something that was criticized about this movie was its darker tone, this more mature story, especially when it comes to the backstory of Casper. It's actually something that I like. I think that you can definitely make a darker, more mature movie that is geared both towards kids and adults, and they can still learn something out of it. There's messages about death in this movie and the afterlife. What comes of all of that? The way it's portrayed in the movie and the way it comes across is actually kind of a valuable life lesson, I would say. Teaching kids a little bit about death. I mean, the morbidity of death is just something that kids probably shouldn't be learning about, but I think it's the message behind that this movie portrays in a way that there is a valuable lesson that can be learned from it. And I think it does a very good job at portraying that lesson. The script also isn't the best part of the movie. It seems like it's trying to do a little bit too much. You have Kat trying to fit in at school. There's this bully, Amber, who wants to bully her, pressures her into having a party at Whipstaff Manor. That ends up happening. You have her father, Dr. Harvey, trying to find the ghost of his dead wife and trying to communicate with his dead wife. You have the ghostly trio trying to kick all the humans who they dub as fleshies out of Whipstaff Manor. You have Kerrigan and her sidekick, Dibs. His name is Dibs, trying to inherit this lost treasure in Whipstaff Manor. There's just a lot going on here, and I'm going to get into some spoilers if you haven't seen Casper. You also have this thing called the Lazarus, which can bring back people from the dead. It's literally this giant Lazarus pit. And it just seems like it is introduced so late into the movie that we don't even get to learn all that much about what Casper's father was actually trying to do with that Lazarus machine. It just seems like an afterthought. It just seems like something that is completely tacked on, and it felt like it was in an entirely different movie at that point. When Kerrigan dies, and she turns into a ghost, the conflict takes place in that entire Lazarus pit room. But I feel like the resolution to that conflict is just way too easy for Kat and Casper to figure out, and Kerrigan just goes away like that is way too easy. It is resolved too quickly. That part of the script, to me, and that part of the movie, felt rushed. The Lazarus pit felt tacked on. That's just my opinion on that whole thing. There are certain scenes in this movie that harken back to like old school horror movies, like something that would take place in like a Victorian era. It has like all those creepy, dank, dark images you might associate with horror movies from like the 1930s or 40s. I get what they were going for. Maybe even something out of a Tim Burton movie, and that is something that I actually really appreciate about Casper. While the script isn't all that great, some of the characters aren't all that great, a lot of the humor doesn't land, and the whole Lazarus pit / conflict with Kerrigan as a ghost and the resolution of that conflict isn't the strongest in this movie. I think Casper is still a good movie for families to watch because of its subtle hidden messages. It's definitely geared more towards kids, and as an adult, I wasn't really sure if I was going to like this movie as much as I did when I was younger. I found it to be fine. It's perfectly passable. I think that this is a good starting point for this series. Reviewing a softer toned yet still mature movie as we make our way through October. Who knows? My next review might be like The Omen or something. Who knows at this point? I was gonna start it off light and make my way. Who knows? You get the idea. I'm gonna go with letter grades for these reviews. So I'm gonna give Casper a B-. It's not the greatest movie in the world. It definitely doesn't hold up as much as an adult, but I still have fun watching Casper. It's not bad at all. I still enjoy it as an adult. I hope it's like that 10 years from now, though, because who knows, 10 years from now, I might even hate this movie. Have you seen Casper? What did you think of Casper? Drop me some feedback in the comment section below. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. Stay tuned for the rest of the month for more horror movies, reviews, Halloween-themed movie reviews. I have my review of Skyfall, the next installment in my No Time to Die Bondathon coming out in the middle of October. And obviously, if there's new releases, I'm going to review some new releases. So there's going to be a lot of balancing back and forth between everything. So you guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.